Your journey from fear to freedom in business. Your journey from fear to freedom in business is not always one of comfort, but it is exciting. Fear is as much a stranger concept as is freedom. Both are experienced according to your unique personal interpretation. When you choose to take the journey or join the journey from a place of fear to freedom, it will change your life and your business. Now, that's a promise, but moreover, it's guaranteed. You're listening to the podcast of the Guru Code. Welcome, sit back and enjoy a touch of well-earned introspection. Allow your thoughts to run free just for, 15 minutes or so before you decide what actions and adjustments you are going to introduce to your world of leadership and business. Now, I was listening to a podcast probably about a year ago now, and the speaker, his name's Bedros, and I can't pronounce his surname with any true justice, so I'm going to spell his surname because, it won't do him, let alone his family, justice, let's put it that way. But if you want to follow him up, he is on YouTube. So his name is Bedros, and his surname is Keuiliam. Now, he suggested a question to ask yourself to test where you were on this spectrum between fear and freedom. Now, for most of us, we travel up and down this continuum between fear and freedom, probably several times a day if we're making decisions or we're in a launch or we've got a new product coming. But most of us will have a preference, a comfort zone, a place where we hang out and spend most of our time, whether that's closer to fear or closer to freedom. Those of us hovering around the fear are most likely to experience that procrastination, the imposter syndrome, decision fatigue, stress. We'll be putting in those really excessive hours, but unproductively, and that low energy. Where others at the freedom end, the worst they experience is a lack of focus because they're so busy looking for what's coming next. Anyway, let's go back to the question from Bedros. So he said, if you didn't know what your job was, what job would you choose to be doing? Now, if your answer is different to what you are doing, you must now ask yourself, so why are you not doing it? You see, this is where your fears are really exposed. They come to the fore when you really sit and really think about your answers. Now, for us, I want to take this question one step further and apply it to your business. If you did not know the current position or success of your business, where would you want your business to be? Now, if you're driving, come back to this question. Or if you've got time to think, great. But I want you to expand your answer without filtering. Okay? Really go deep and write down all the things or speak, literally come out with them. So where would you want your business to be? Is your answer different from the reality? See, when I did this, mine was, so I know what I'm talking about. And then if you're in the same position that I was in, I now want you to ask yourself the second part of that question. So what is stopping your business from being there? And again, this is where those unconscious thoughts are going to be, those unconscious fears are sitting. Allow them to come. It's really interesting, isn't it? What lies below that surface of those conscious thoughts? It's just like that iceberg analogy, isn't it? You have that small amount peeking up, but down, deep, deep down, underneath the surface is where the majority of what's stirring and going on sits. Our unconscious thoughts are exactly where our fears reside. they are the thoughts which hold the unconscious bias about what we are capable of, what is possible, what's not possible, what we deserve, and what we don't deserve. It's that deep. I want you to ring fence those fears so that you can work on them. Just keep chipping away at them. Now, I was only introduced to Napoleon Hill probably a couple of years ago, and it's probably only in the last 18 months that I've really had the opportunity to delve deeply into the book, the Think and Grow Rich book. But there's a lovely quote saying, there's loads of quotes in there that are well worth it. But this one came out on top for me for this particular subject. Before you can control the conditions, you must learn to control yourself. You see, this is where mind management comes into its own. Although we have automatic thoughts every second of the day, when we have the self-belief to recognize them, we can actively eradicate them. We then start controlling ourselves. We reframe them, or we use them to power up our resources, our existing resources. This is when we are truly at the cause of our outcomes, of our destiny, and we stop being that sitting duck with fingers crossed, waiting for the storm clouds to pass. We stop talking about being lucky, and we start really understanding how to create our success. If I were to liken free-floating fear, as an analogy, it would be that of a feral cat. Yes, a stray cat who remains aloof and unsocialized, ready to pounce on its prey to stop it in its tracks, most likely to play and tease its kill until it gets bored and moves on to the next opportunity, stealth-like in its approach, allowing the tension and anticipation to build, and then boom, it's gone. Now, these feral features and behaviours have similar positive intentions for you as they do the cat, and it's about survival. Fear, which, when I start breaking it down, is false evidence appearing real, has the greatest of intentions, which is to maintain that safety, your survival. If your perception is there is a threat, your mind will seek to let you know physically and let you know to retreat. That's your flight, okay? Just like a feral cat will retreat when it sees a human, because they'll see it as a threat. Now, another lovely quote from a lady called Mandy Hale, and I think this fits in nicely here, because when we join that journey from fear to freedom, it is a journey, and it's trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. Oh, well, I found that uplifting. I hope you do. So the quote that I've just used expresses the essential features, I think, of that journey that you must take when you go from fear to freedom. It is uncertainty. It is about embracing it. It's about trust, having faith, and excited about what's going to become. Both the concepts, fear and freedom, are attitudes, or use the buzzword of the day, mindsets created by you. They're using those deeply held unconscious beliefs based on your individual experiences, the readings that you've read, nurturing that you've had, and events that you've experienced. Your thoughts, which come from that historically held understanding, will dictate the results that you're getting and will get in the future. Freedom will only be achieved when you master that self-awareness required to identify the unhelpful thinking patterns. Self-awareness takes discipline. It's not given to you. It takes discipline, but it offers you the opportunity to really recalibrate your thoughts, with your desired outcomes, to quarantine the emotion of fear and stop listening to that self-doubt and the naysayers so that you lead fearlessly from the front. When you are operating from the premise of fear, you are becoming emotionally hijacked, entangled in overthinking and procrastination. Think about it like it's like driving a car with the brakes binding on, blindfolded and with your hands behind your back. That's going to be a really difficult journey. That's going to be a journey that I would suggest not many of us would look forward to. And I think when we're in business, we have to be excited. Rather than being repelled by something, it's much easier to be pulled. So much less effort. So I've come up with what I think are 5 key paths, if you like, and I'm calling them paths because each of these 5 key points need to be explored. They need to be really absorbed and taken to a different level when you're working on them. But when you do, that's when things really start to happen. So I'm going to invite you to just really spend some time on mastering the self-awareness so that you're rewarded with the clarity, because that's the end goal. That's the pull. When we have clarity, it will set you emotionally and mentally free. And that is a gift. So getting to these levels of freedom will mean domesticating that inner feline, that rogue feline that is playing inside there. So the first thing about getting to that self-awareness level is being honest with yourself and others. There is nothing wrong with telling people around you that this is a white knuckle ride, and you're really likely to find the most amazing support and encouragement in a response when you are that honest. It's not about crumbling. It's not about weakness. It's about honesty. And that was my biggest eye-opener and my biggest wakener when I was in leadership in my previous career. When you're honest with your team, they start to follow. So think about it. Second, call out the fear. Name it. Expose its core. Where's it coming from? When you lift something from the root, it can't come back in its same form. This is the eradication. Okay, it's not that you won't become fearful again, or you'll feel that same emotional symptoms that are bubbling up. But what it means is that you start to rewire your mind to see that fear underneath a glass. It's like capturing a spider under a glass. You tame it, you contain it, and it can't come back in its same free-floating form. Thirdly, be clear in stating your vision. It may feel vulnerable to start with, but no one would shoot blind if they wanted to hit the target. Think about it. Who the heck would go into anything saying they want to go somewhere and then not have a clue how they're going to get there or hit a target? You wouldn't do it. So don't do it with your business. Have a clear vision, one that you can talk to others about with comfort and excitement. 4, acceptance of and prepared to experience uncomfortable emotions fully. Emotions stay with you for I can't remember the full seconds, but it's something like 20 seconds. If you don't feed it, it goes. It's like cutting off its blood supply, but be prepared just to sit with it. Because you've identified it, because you're naming it, it goes, because you are acknowledging its presence and dealing with it and taking action. And fifth, lean into that vulnerability. That's enjoying the ride. That's the expectation of becoming. It's part of it. And if you're not feeling that excitement, if you're not feeling that fear, are you doing enough? Are you growing? So, it's with my greatest hope that that this has been thought-provoking for you, but also whetted your appetite to consider what's actually possible for someone to master is very possible for you to master. Just remember, this does not happen automatically. Okay, this takes work. We all work at it. I work at it. Every one of us has multiple layers of different thicknesses to unwrap and dispose of. We won't all be the same, but it's normal. And if you need help or support to apply the theories, because everyone's got theories, but it's in the application that really you see the outcomes and you get rewarded with the prizes. So if you need any help going through that process, remember, I'm here. Do give me a call, message me. All my details will be in the show's details underneath this podcast. So let me know how you get on. I hope it's good. I hope you do really spend some time investing in yourself there. And I'll see you again. Bye-bye.